The Angels finish a disappointing season with the same record they had last season, but they did win 2 out of 3 against the A's this last weekend, and so we're going to recap each of those games, and then we're going to share our thoughts on 2023. It's time to get locked on with Mike and John, and this is Locked On Angels.
You are Locked On Angels, your daily Los Angeles Angels podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thanks for making Locked On Angels your first listen of the day. You can find us anywhere you get your podcast, including Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and SiriusXM by searching Locked On Angels. And the best way to help us out is by giving us a rate and a review. And if you're watching on YouTube, make sure that you're subscribed and click that bell to be notified every time a new episode drops. And today's show is brought to you by Gametime. You can download the Gametime app, create an account, and use our promo code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Last-minute tickets, lowest prices guaranteed.
Thanks for being here for this episode of Locked On Angels, where it's your team every day. You've got the Frisch Brothers here with you, a.k.a. the Super Halo Bros. My name is John, and that's my brother Mike.
And my name is Mike, and that's my brother John.
Hey, everybody, just so you know, we'll be here 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, until about the end of December, I should say. And we'll be doing 5 episodes per week. We'll drop down to about 3 over the holidays and then ramp back up to 5 again. So you can count on us for all the Angels offseason discussion that you're looking for. In fact, we're going to be starting our discussion tomorrow with a conversation around Phil Nevin and the team manager and who, they could possibly have and who they need, Mike. And so that's going to be our discussion on tomorrow's show. On today's show, we will talk about the last series of the season. It is the end of the regular season for the Halos. A lot of news out of the weekend about who's playing in the playoffs and who isn't, and how the Astros ended up taking first place in the West all of a sudden. Just a crazy weekend. So we're going to recap that in just a minute. But Mike, we want to take a minute to just pause and send our thoughts and our prayers to the Wakefield family. Of course, Tim Wakefield passed away yesterday, and that was some sudden news. We didn't know that he was dealing with the issues that he was dealing with earlier this week, and then that was given out against their wishes, unfortunately. Yeah. But this news was still pretty shocking yesterday. Mike, what do you remember about Tim Wakefield?
Johnny, I'll go back to the early 90s. He was on the Pittsburgh Pirates when they had Barry Bonds and Bobby Bonilla. He was a young pitcher. Mm-hmm. And so I remember him pitching at a very young age. And I remember at a very young age watching him pitch. But he obviously got really well known when he helped the Red Sox win the World Series. And that knuckleball, I'm always impressed with anybody that can throw a knuckleball. And that thing didn't move, right? And the beautiful part about Tim Wakefield is he could start, he could close, he could be middle relief, he could be whatever you needed. And it didn't matter, especially in the playoffs, if he pitched the day before, because there wasn't much strain on his arm because the dude was throwing a knuckleball. And then every once in a while would throw like an 85-mile-an-hour fastball and catch the batter off guard and strike him out looking or something along those lines. Tim Wakefield, just a really, really good ball player. I know Red Sox fans really love that guy. And so we do send our thoughts and prayers to their family.
Yeah. World Series champ Tim Wakefield passed away on Sunday. And our hearts go out to his family and of course all the fans of Tim as well. Changing gears here, Mike, we're going to get into Friday's game against the A's. It was a win, 5-1 in this one, and it saw the return of Chase Silseth. He returned, went 4 innings pitched, 2 hits, 1 run, 3 walks, and 3 Ks. He had a great splitter and a great slider working for him. I know that he was having a little bit of locations issues, but I think you can chalk that up to just kind of coming back for the first time in a few weeks. And for him and Davis Daniel to split that game 4 innings and Davis Daniel going 5 was pretty cool to watch. In fact, Chase Silseth finishes out 2023 with a 3.96 ERA in 53 1/3 innings. Remember, some of that's bullpen work as well. And so if you think about him purely as a starter, he was really great starting the game. And then, of course, Davis Daniel, 5 innings pitched to finish the game, 2 hits, no runs, 1 walk, and 2 Ks. That was his first major league win. And the Angels actually had some terrific defense behind these guys. And what I liked about Friday's game is that you saw 2 young pitchers like really looking to make an impact. And I think they did that on Friday, right?
Yeah, I loved watching those two guys, and I think Silseth, we've said it a number of times on the show, but I think he's in the starting rotation, and I think he's one of the top guys in this starting rotation in 2024. And I like Davis Daniel. He kind of has a Kenny Rosenberg vibe to him. We'll talk about Kenny and how he did on Sunday coming up, but I like what Davis Daniel has shown us so far, and maybe he might sneak his way into this pitching rotation, not necessarily maybe a starter, but maybe in the bullpen, or perhaps if the Angels want to shake it up a bit, maybe he's somebody that is a part of this starting rotation in 2024. It's another right-hander, and he's got a great set of pitches, and I really like what I saw from him. Consistent, strong. Same thing with Chase Silseth, consistent and strong on Friday. And speaking of consistent and strong, how about Nolan Schanuel, John? He's extended his on-base streak. That guy just knows how to get on base, and this is exactly what this team has needed for a really, really long time, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It was funny. I was watching Saturday's game with a couple of friends. They came over to hang out, and they're not big into baseball, but I was telling them about Schanuel, and my buddy Omar had said, he goes, baseball's funny because it's like, not about how athletic you are. It's about power or it's about finesse.
Yeah.
And we were talking about Schanuel and just his ability to identify what's a strike and what's a ball, and the finesse with which he plays and a lot of these guys play with. And so it was a great conversation. So that was great to see on Friday. He got to 28, eventually got to 29 on Saturday, and then was out of the lineup on Sunday. Mickey Moniak had his first career home run against the lefty. It was his 14th of the season, Mike.
Yeah.
Mike, somebody on Twitter made me laugh because they said it was against the A's. Who cares? And I said, a four-seam fastball, whether it's out of Ken Walichuk's hand or out of Jacob deGrom's hand, it's like it's a home run off of a starting pitcher, and it's a four-seam fastball, and this happened to be a lefty, and he got it. And so I thought that was great. Mickey Moniak hit the home run off the lefty. He didn't even realize it was off the lefty.
Right.
But was really surprised at that.
John, I think when it comes to that conversation, I think that fans, they need some clarity. And so let me see if I can help bring some clarity here. Like, you're right. Hitting a fastball off of somebody who's not great versus somebody who is great. Like it is a fastball that's coming off of their hands, and everybody makes mistakes. I think that argument of, well, it's the A's, that argument can be made in a situation where, the Angels are needing some wins and they swept them this weekend. Then you could say, well, it is the A's, so you can't really judge if they're a good team or not if they swept the A's, right? But when it comes to somebody like a home run and Mickey Moniak hitting a home run off of a lefty, that's huge for him because he's been trying to make sure that he doesn't get taken out of the lineup when there's a lefty as a starter, right? And so for him, like that is huge. And hitting a home run as a lefty off a lefty is huge no matter who it is. In fact, he was interviewed after the game and he said, I was surprised that I even hit the home run. And he wasn't surprised that it was his first home run off a lefty because he knows that he's been struggling against left-handed pitchers. And so it's great to see him get some confidence. He also said, this is the team that we're really excited about in 2024. All of these young guys, we want to perform now so that we can set ourselves up for a really great start to next season. And truthfully, when he talked, Johnny, I got really excited, and I wanted to say to Mickey, like, John and I have committed to not having any expectations in 2024. And the way that he was talking and the way that Logan O'Hoppe was talking was really firing me up this last week.
Well, they need that, and they need to bring that energy, and that's what needs to be brought to the table. I still contend that the energy and the enthusiasm the Angels young players are bringing is going to be quelched by Artie Moreno's ownership and everything. Like it drives me nuts. Like you're going to hit a wall as long as Artie is in charge because you have so many talented young guys on this team, and I'm worried about their enthusiasm. Not to be a downer, but I'm just like,
I hear what you're saying.
I'm just trying to be real. Like
there is a very real lid to excitement, passion, joy, enthusiasm on this team. If they're not going to build around this team, if it's just going to be these guys trying their best, trying their hardest, but then the team around them isn't cohesive and the culture's not cohesive and they don't have a good manager and all of those pieces, right? I think it was Cal Raleigh that said after the Mariners got eliminated, he said, hey, front office has to go and get us some guys. And that's why the Rangers are in the playoffs and we're not. Like they have to go get us some guys. And so as much as the Mariners were really exciting to watch for Mariner fans this year and for their players, it was a really down moment for them because they were eliminated from the playoffs. And Cal Raleigh's usually somebody who's pretty excitable and likes his team. And so I think that what you're saying is that it could really hammer these guys if we just continue around the same merry-go-round with Artie Moreno and nothing changes. However, I really do appreciate the excitement and the thrill and I hope they don't lose that once we move into 2024, because I think that that's definitely going to be something that could be a pillar in this new culture.
Did you say the Mariners didn't make the playoffs, Mike? What? That's a shame.
I did.
What a
That's
shame.
a shame.
Darn. Mike, something Bobby Valentine said on the postgame was that he mentioned how the young pitchers throwing to young catchers might have impacted a lot of the performance this year. And he believes that's why you see some of the struggles they had. I buy that on a certain level. And the fact is they were planning on rolling with Max Stassi and Logan O'Hoppe. And while that didn't happen, it was Matt Thaiss and Chad Wallach for most of the year. And they were serviceable. They were fine. They were decent, but they're not Logan O'Hoppe and certainly not Max Stassi in terms of calling a game with a pitcher. I think he does that very well. And then finally, last note, on Friday, Zach Neto was honored as a recipient of the Bob Feller Act of Valor Award. It's presented to a current MLB player for their support of United States service women and servicemen. So I thought that was really cool that Zach Neto got that award. Hey, coming up on Locked On Angels, we're going to finish recapping this weekend series. But on Saturday, an 11-year-old fan caused quite a stir in the stands. What's that about? We'll talk about that coming right up.
Locked On Angels is brought to you by Gametime. Gametime is a fast and easy way to buy tickets for all the sports, music, comedy, theater, and events near you with killer last-minute deals, all-in prices, view from your seats, and their best price guarantee. Gametime takes the guesswork out of buying tickets. Gametime is the only ticketing app that gives you complete peace of mind with your purchase. You can buy tickets with 2 taps, and then you're done. All-in prices show you your total right up front, so you know what you're getting right when you're getting it. There's no hidden fees. Gametime has deals on tickets right up until the start of the event, and even an hour after it starts. This is the place to find those last-minute seats. Find exclusive flash deals and sponsored deals on tickets for football, basketball, baseball, concerts, comedy, theater, and more. With zone deals, you can pick the section and Gametime picks the seats for an average of 18% of your savings. So that's kind of a cool deal. And with Gametime guarantee, it means that you'll get the best price. And if you find tickets in the same section and same row for less, then they're going to credit you, Gametime that is, 110% of the difference. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets. You can download the Gametime app right now, create an account, and use our code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Terms do apply, but again, create an account and redeem the code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off. Download the Gametime app today. Last minute tickets, lowest prices, guaranteed.
Thanks for making Locked On Angels your first listen of the day. Hey, Locked On Everydayers, we have something that we need your help with, and that is our end-of-season player grades. We did this last year. It was a lot of fun, and we're doing it again. So starting tomorrow, you'll find in the episode description a link to a Google form survey, and you'll be able to grade each player from the Angels roster in 2023. Let us know how you felt about their performance and how they did on the field, and even just how they are in general, right? That's what we're here for, to talk about and grade. So that's going to start tomorrow. Again, look for that in the episode description. Of course, we'll be posting that at Locked On Angels on Twitter and at Super Halo Bros on Instagram. So be sure you're on the lookout for that. And we'd love to get your feedback on the players, the roster, and the 2023 season with our fan grades for the roster starting tomorrow.
John, let's go to Saturday's game. This was a game where it was kind of a tale of almost 3 games, right? Like,
no kidding.
The Angels did lose this one 7-3. They were trailing 1-0, but they were being no hit until the 6th inning.
Yes.
And then in the 7th inning, they got 3 runs topped off by Logan O'Hoppe. He hit a 98-mile-an-hour fastball for a 2-run home run, his 14th home run of the season. Johnny, he ties Benji Molina's rookie catcher record with 14 home runs. He has 9 in September, John.
Yeah.
Logan O'Hoppe. It's just been incredible to watch him. And I just think, what would a full season of Logan O'Hoppe had been like if we had him around?
Well, they extrapolated a full season for Logan O'Hoppe on the broadcast on Sunday, and he was on pace to hit 45 home runs if he had kept the pace at which he was hitting in the 50 games that he
Mike
played.
Piazza numbers there, huh?
It's just crazy, Mike, to think about the fact that you think about Benji Molina played a full season of games his rookie year, and Logan O'Hoppe, again, only playing, barely a third of the season.
Right.
It's just really incredible to know that he it tied that record. Unfortunately, didn't pass it, but again, I think it's really exciting for what's to come with Logan O'Hoppe.
It's almost like that movie, is it Rookie of the Year, where the kid throws a baseball from center field because he got his arm fixed, right? Like, it's almost like Logan got a new lat or whatever it was that he tore up in his shoulder. And now he's just got all of this incredible power, right? It's been great to see him turn it on in September. Again, 9 home runs. Schanuel got his 29th straight game on base. He got a hit, he got a walk in that one. And Johnny, he really has impressed me, not just offensively, but defensively.
Interesting. Yeah. I'm still a fan of Walsh over there at first, but
yes.
I mean, Schanuel and the fact that his bat has made such an impact, or even just his plate appearances in terms of getting on base, have made such an impact. I'm a really big fan of his, and I'm excited for what he's going to bring to next season as well.
Heck yeah. How about pitching, Johnny? In this one, our boy, Kenny Rosenberg.
Kenny.
He went 5 innings, no hits, and struck out 6. Sorry, gave up no runs as well. He was really well in this game. And then Andrew Wantz started. You and I had this theory that maybe perhaps Rosenberg, if he just started, he does a whole lot better. But then he blew that theory out of the water because he followed up Andrew Wantz's start, who gave up a run. He followed up that start by not giving up any hits and striking out 6. So I was really impressed with him.
You set a tone at the beginning of the game. And I still contend, like, now it has nothing to do with Kenny's skill and ability to come in and after an opener. It's just like, no, let the guy go out there with a starter's mentality.
Yes.
And set the tone of the game for both him and the opposing hitters on the A's. Like, I mean, having Wantz out there, fine, but use him in the 6th, use him in the 7th. I don't care. I mean, I think you owe it to Kenny to give him a true start, given how well he's performed, Mike.
Yeah. Speaking of performing well, Soriano and Joyce, they've been good all year. However, they've had some moments where they've fallen apart. Joyce, not so much, but Soriano, we've had some moments where we've said, oh man, he just couldn't shut it down. Mm-hmm. Now in AAA or AA, Joyce had some moments where he fell apart. Mm-hmm. This was one of those games, Johnny. They each collectively gave up 5 runs, which really blew the game out of the water for the Angels, because the Angels were up 3-1. And then they came in, Soriano and Joyce, and kind of fell apart, but they are young guys. They are rookies. And so this is the time for them to figure that out. In fact, Joyce didn't record an out in this game. And so that was frustrating. He just didn't have his command. His mechanics looked a bit off. And then Soriano didn't do much better in this game as well. And again, the Angels did lose this one 7-3.
Mike, there were some awards handed out for Fan Appreciation Night. They gave out the team voted Angels MVP to Shohei Ohtani.
Who's that to?
Who could it have been? His 3rd year in a row winning team MVP, Mike.
Yeah.
And then they gave Carlos Estevez the Nick Adenhart Pitcher of the Year award.
Are you surprised by that?
No. I know people are like, why wouldn't you give it to Shohei? I think it's a matter of, well, they just gave him the MVP.
Sure.
And sure, he was the best pitcher on the staff. But also you think about how nails Carlos Estevez was up until August.
Right.
And the fact that, what did he go 30 for 30 in save tries before he started having issues, and he matched that start by was it Percy or
I think it was Frankie. Was
Frankie.
It Frankie? Yeah.
Yeah. So
Frankie Rodriguez.
I mean, it's a name like that who
you're in the same. We're talking about you and those guys. Yeah, exactly.
So I guess what I mean to say is, like, look, this guy was not closing for the Rockies. He had a couple of save opportunities in his career, stepped into the role and really thrived when we needed him to, until he didn't, which was early August. And so I mean, the obviously the guys appreciate him. They voted him pitcher of the year. I think he's earned it. And I don't think Ohtani wants to, he wouldn't want to
have both.
Take the shine off of somebody else who probably deserves a nice pat on the back for what he was able to. Yeah, exactly. So Shohei, I'm pretty sure Shohei himself will tell you he doesn't need all the attaboys. Like he's probably happy for Carlos that he got that one too. And then Mike, interesting note on Saturday, an 11-year-old boy from Orange County brought his homemade sign to Saturday night's game, and Angel security took it away from him because it said "sell the team" on it. And as soon as he took it out, they took it away.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I don't know if it's a good look for the Halos to be doing that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Considering the A's fans were there chanting "sell the team," which
Right.
they've been doing all season long in regards to John Fisher and Dave Cavall and everybody. And there were "sell the team" chants throughout the weekend because that's what the A's fans were doing and organizing and stuff. But the minute this 11-year-old boy takes his sign out, they take it away from him. What's up with that?
Johnny, Sam Blum tweeted, hey, if your team sucks and you're not willing to acknowledge it, your fans are going to acknowledge it, right?
Yeah.
And so that's really what this is about, is if the team's terrible and you haven't been a great owner for this team, there's going to be fans that are going to be vocal about it.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that it's an 11-year-old boy and they went and took the sign away, like that makes it even worse. I get that they're going to treat everybody equally, whether they're old or whether they're young. But the reality is that it makes it worse because this kid is kind of having fun. Maybe his parents set him up to do it. Who knows? If I was a dad, I would have been like, yeah, here, and had my son do that.
Even
so I got autographs at spring training, right? I sent Gavin over to talk to all the players. But I just don't think it's a good look. And if your team is struggling and your fans are being vocal about it, and then you're trying to take away signs and hide things, that doesn't seem to make sense in my mind. If it's vulgar, sure, I can understand that, but it's not vulgar. I was really proud of the boys. I think it was Swilly Sports tweeted it out where the boys had the "sell the team" shirts on them, right? And that you're not going to take those shirts away, are you?
Adley Rutschman and Gunnar Henderson were at the game. I was shocked. In that those guys literally look like the Orioles staff. Is hilarious.
They did.
Mike, an 11-year-old kid. I'm sure you're right. I'm sure it's his parents who told him. But an 11-year-old kid wants Artie to sell the team. Like, grant a wish here, Grandpa Artie. Like, let's get this over with. Sell the team. You were going to do it last year. We would have had a much different looking season if you had sold the team. And so, even if this kid was put up to it by somebody else, still, it's ridiculous. It's state-run media, which we've said all season long. They try to control every narrative and they try to control every thread, and eventually you're going to get tired of doing that, and you're going to run yourself into the ground.
That's exhausting.
And maybe they'll be exhausted enough to sell this team because, again, the narrative isn't going away.
No.
Like, they need to sell. It's time. It's been time. And it's time for Artie and company to ride off into the sunset when it comes to their relationship with the Angels. Mike, on Sunday, it was a 7-3 win.
Yep.
A nice bittersweet ending to a downer of a season.
Right.
And my boy, Brandon Drury, had 2 home runs in this one, took everybody to Drury duty twice in this one, which feels like real jury duty. It's like, I just went, but why do I have to go again? 3 RBIs along with 3 hits. Mike, listen to this. His 30th double. So here's his line here. 26 total home runs, 30th double, 83 RBIs this season, and 805 OPS. Mike, as a second baseman, they mentioned on the broadcast, Bobby Grich territory. Yeah. In terms of a single season with numbers like this. What an impressive season from Brandon Drury.
And he missed time. And that's the other big thing. He wasn't there for the full season. Gosh, I hate that narrative. I hate it so much. But gosh, if you had him and Shohei and Trout all in the same lineup, and then you had a full season of Logan O'Hoppe and Zach, I mean, good grief. This offense would have been pretty spectacular, right?
Yeah.
Like, this is a spectacular offense. And we already talked about Logan O'Hoppe, John, but he had 4 walks in this game.
I know.
He's shown a lot of power and then suddenly showing a lot of patience. Like you mentioned it, on pace to have 45 home runs in a season if he had a full season. So I'm really looking forward to him offensively, but John, I'm really looking forward to him behind the plate because he just seems to really be able to handle these pitchers really well. And to have the variety of guys that have been pitching and throwing for us the last couple of weeks, O'Hoppe's got a lot of experience in those times because he's had to catch a lot of different people. Carson Fulmer in this game, in the other games, he's had to catch Davis Daniel and Chase Silseth, and he's had to walk them through. Obviously, they're smart, they're intelligent, they're going to figure some things out as well. But the catcher is the guy that really pulls the strings and moves the levers and turns the wheel. And so I'm really impressed with how he's handled himself this season, because even with the injury, he has really made an impact on this team.
Is he living up to the number 14?
I think so.
You think he's worthy?
Oh man, I think so. Like,
you're gonna wear Socha's number, you got to be a good catcher.
He's fantastic. Like, it's great to have him on the team, and the Angels really haven't had that great catcher since Benji Molina, right? Like, and that's when they were successful. And so I think O'Hoppe is one of those boxes that you can check and say, this makes your team successful. And I think a shortstop makes your team successful. And Johnny, Zach Neto finishes with a 685 OPS. Remember, this guy was not even sniffing Major League Baseball this season. And then suddenly he's on the team and he's making an impact, and they're winning because he's in the lineup.
Yeah, since he returned from the IL, he was struggling there for a while. Coming in, he was like 9 for 61 into Sunday's game. So awesome that he was able to add 2 more hits. Mike, another hit by pitch for poor Zach Neto in this one as well.
Magneto, yeah.
Now, look, Carson Fulmer, really fun story here. He got his first win as a starter since 2019.
Yeah.
And since he's just come up to help the Angels get to the finish line, guy has been awesome. Remember, he threw 70 pitches and then went out the next night out of the bullpen and pitched. And in this one, he went 5 innings and had 2 hits, 3 walks, and 3 Ks, no runs given up.
Yep.
Jose Suarez came in to follow him up. He had 3 innings pitched, 6 hits. He did give up 2 runs and had 2 Ks. He gave up Brent Rooker's 30th home run of the season, which I don't know about you, but like felt inevitable to me. I was like, Rooker's getting 30
right
in this one. Like, it's going to happen.
What a season for that guy.
I know, right? Just
Fantastic.
out of nowhere. So the good news is that the Angels ended this season on a high note, sent everybody home happy. We got to hear from Neto in the post game, and he was really hyped and excited. I am looking forward to seeing how the Angels build upon what they've sort of established. I feel like the cement is still wet, Mike.
Yeah.
They're still pouring the cement, right, in terms of Ohtani and Schanuel and Neto and Moniak and even Joe Adell too, who looks a lot better in the outfield and looks much better at the plate. Just great to see the development these guys are going through. Season's over. The Angels finished with the same record as last season, funny enough, 73 and 89. The good news is that while we were clamoring for 90 wins at the beginning of the season, we're like, just get 90. It then turned into, are they going to get 90 losses? So they avoided 90 losses, which is good. Final thoughts on the season, Mike. Why don't you start us out?
Johnny, just disappointed with how they fell apart. Like, it's frustrating to watch this team, especially in August when they went all in. And there were some days where we watched and I was frustrated. And in fact, I'd have to walk away from the television at a few points because I was getting really frustrated, and I was frustrated with my family. Like, I could just tell, like it just impacted me. And I know it's just a game, and I know it's just our team, but man, it impacted me, and it was just such a bother. I was like, why can't they figure this out? And so really disappointed with how they fell apart, frustrated with all the injuries. And quite honestly, like this feels like a fluke of a season when it comes to injuries. I know we've had injuries in the past, but this year it seemed like everybody fell apart. And I don't know if that's just a part of the nature of the business, but I know Perry tried to figure that out in the offseason. Having him try to figure it out again this offseason, I think the solution is, John, young guys. Honestly, I know some of the young guys were on the IL, but I think it's young. Like, let's just go young and surround them. Have Mike Trout be surrounded by them. And if we get Shohei back, awesome. But like, let's let the young guys play and see what they can do. And maybe perhaps that would help us in the injury department, because these young guys will bounce back quicker. They'll want to be in there quicker. They haven't done too much work like some of the veterans have done. And so that might solve the issue. The one thing that I'm really excited about and proud of is how Halo fans handled themselves, because we had full stadiums, and especially after August, it would have been easy for people to just pull the ripcord and parachute out. Right. And so even watching Sunday's game, it was cool to see the stadium pretty full and the fans really involved. And so that's the thing that really stirs me up. Is this is why the Angels need to try and do something to win, and not do it where it's makeshift and duct tape and staples, but actually build a sustainable team, because these fans are going to be there and are going to root for this team no matter what. And then when it's good, it's going to just double in size, and you're going to see that stadium filled again. So good on you fans for not running away, walking away. I think it can be kind of pointless to boycott, because Marty's going to make his money no matter what. Right. So I think showing up and actually being vocal, I think showing up and booing, I think showing up and making a statement, I think communicates what we would want to communicate as fans, that it's time for something new, and it's time for this team to figure it out and not just continue to do the same thing in the same way all the time.
Yeah, I'm with you. I mean, I look at the way Angel fans have responded this season, and what drives me nuts, Mike, is that I feel like ownership is leaving money on the table. And not that I even care about how much money they make. I look at the passion the fans have for the Angels and how badly they want to be there for this team through the good and the bad. And we want some good, and the fans are going to show up through the bad, but just imagine how much more they'll show up when times are good. And the fans deserve that, and they crave that. We crave that.
Yep.
And it's just funny to me how you can see how close the fans are to this team and not give them what they deserve. And like I said, you are leaving so much opportunity on the table. Maybe that's a better word rather than money on the table. You are leaving so much opportunity on the table because you won't commit to the things you need to commit to. But later on this week, we're going to talk about that article that Sam Blum wrote that really detailed a lot of the issues within the Angels organization, and quotes from former staff, former players, things like that. And I'm looking forward to that conversation. As far as this season goes, I mean, gosh, you really can't, when you adjust your game plan to account for injuries, and then all those injuries are replaced by more injuries. Yeah. I mean, they tried. And at the trade deadline, they went and got the areas of need. And I don't think I've ever seen a team collapse as hard as the Angels did in August. Like, it was just absolutely brutal. And it's disappointing because there was a point where it's like, hey, they're 3 games out of this. Like, let's go for it. I mean, look at the way the Rangers were in first place pretty much all season. And it came down to 162. And what do we always say, Mike? You got to play all 162. Play them all. And now the Astros are in first place. And the Rangers are going to the playoffs. Don't get me wrong. But that's why you got to play all 162. That's why you had to push your chips in at the end of July and the beginning of August, because you don't know how things are going to shake out. Moving on to next year, I'm excited for the youthful energy that's going to be there. Now, we're going to have plenty of discussions about the future of this team. We're going to be here every single day talking about news and updates regarding, who's staying, who's going, what's the coaching staff look like, managerial conversations. All that's going to happen here on Locked On Angels. We look forward to having you with us every Monday through Friday right here.
Thanks for making Locked On Angels your first listen of the day. We'd love to hear from you, so you can comment below. And John, if they want to reach out to us on social media, give them the digits on how they can do that.
Yeah, you can get at us at Locked On Angels on Twitter and at Super Halo Bros on Twitter and Instagram. Of course, our voicemail line is always open as well. That number is in the episode description below the episode. Mike, what do we have on deck for tomorrow's show?
Off-season discussion number 1, John.
Number 1.
What do we do with Phil Nevin? Let's talk about that and chat about that and give our thoughts about that tomorrow on Locked On Angels.
All right, friends. We look forward to that conversation. We hope you'll come back and join us again. Thank you for a great 2023. We'll be here again Monday through Friday. And again, don't forget, we have that roster grade survey coming out tomorrow. So stay tuned for that. That'll be in the episode description starting tomorrow. Until then, my name is John, and that's my brother Mike.
And my name is Mike, and that's my brother John.
Thanks for being here with us, and we'll see you back here tomorrow.
Can't believe the Mariners are wasting Julio Rodriguez's career. They're wasting him.
He's not like Mike.
Wasting
He's Julio.